Sam also joins us in the studio. I think that's the right mic for you, Sam. There we go. Yes, there we go. Well, hockey returns after its festive break, Sam, and it's the traditional split now, isn't it? So we go from mixed hockey to the men's and women's leagues.
Yeah, so for the foreseeable, until about April, end of April, early May, there's be men's and ladies playing now, which will stand on men's and ladies teams in good stead, because I think they're away later on in the year as well.
A couple of games are standing out for you this weekend, are they?
Yeah, I think the big one for me is Valkyrie versus Ramsey. I mean, these guys had, in the PwC Women's Premier League, these guys had some real ding-dong battles last year, and I fancy this game to be a really, really entertaining game. On paper, it's very difficult to pick a favourite. Ramsey possibly just edge it in terms of their strength and depth, but Valkyrie are a very, very determined side, and they've got some very, very good up-and-coming players. Sienna Dunn, just to name one, and they are going to strengthen that Valkyrie side this season. The second one, I picked out Harlequins A, again, in the PwC Women's Division 1, Harlequins A versus Backers B. Harlequins A are still a very good side. They have lost Emily Middleton and Sam Hassel, two backers. Whether either of those will be involved in this game tomorrow, I do not know. But Harlequins A are still a good side, and on their day, they could beat anybody. But Backers B last year were very, very impressive at times, and Backers have huge strength and depth in their ladies. And I think Backers B, although they'll edge this one, it will still be an entertaining game.
Having a look at the men's and women's leagues in general this forthcoming season, is it going to be the usual suspects that are going to be up there, Backers A in the men's and Vikings A in the women's in the Premier Leagues?
I think if you look at the mixed form before Christmas, you have Vikings A and Backers A fighting out for the title. Pretty much those two sides fighting out for the cup as well. And then you look at that going into men's and ladies season. I think Vikings A ladies are still a team to beat. And the rest of the chasing pack really need to decide amongst themselves who's going to step up and take them on. They all seem to take points out of each other throughout the season. It just lets Vikings accelerate away. The men, on the other hand, they've always been the weaker of the two sexes. They haven't been able to get a win in the league for a very long time, but you just get the sense that the likes of Eddie Cayley, Archie Cayley, Nate Evans, Max Kermode as well, all moving into that first team. They've got a serious strength there now, and I think they can carry that forward from the mixed season into this men's season. But Backers A, they're the favourites. Any team that has Jamie Brown, Andy Whiting, Dave Whiting, Johnny Callow in it, very difficult team to beat. They're going to be going for goals, and they're going to be very difficult to defend against. So my favourites are still Backers A, but they've got a huge challenge coming from underneath them.
Well, like you say, it's up to those other teams to step up, isn't it? Because in both the men's and the women's game, these two respective sides, Backers A and Vikings A, have been so far ahead, really, of the chasing pack for the last few years. And I think the winning mentalities that breeds, it just means that as long as they keep on top of their games, they don't get complacent. It's very, very difficult for the other teams, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Backers A, they've lost George Harrison from the back, which is, quite frankly, a huge loss. James Harrison is at university as well. And they've just lost a couple of players here and there, but their core remains very, very strong. And as long as that core remains very, very strong, they're going to challenge. Vikings A last year, they kind of annoyed the MHA quite a lot. This year, they need to just get on with their hockey. Don't try playing with the rules or bending the rules to suit their own needs. If they can just play hockey with the team they've got, they can challenge Backers A, but they've really got to step up to the plate this year.
Looking through the other divisions, are there any other teams that stand out for you, ones to watch?
Well, there's the men's Premier League relegation battle, and this is a game that I'm playing in tomorrow. Early doors, there's probably two relegation favourites between Vikings B and Castown A. And Castown A were promoted as champions and go into this one pretty much huge favourites. They've improved so much over the past 2 or 3 seasons. Robin Masson is a real talisman for that men's team going forward, and I played against him for a number of years. It feels like I played against him forever, but he's still a very, very young lad. And it's going to be very difficult to stop them scoring tomorrow. But that's another early relegation decider, and it's going to be huge for the end of the season. When you look at the men's Division 1, Saracens A, they're one of my favourites for the title. They made it to the plate final last year and won it. And George Powell is been a great captain for them. He's brought on those young players that are only just slightly younger than himself, leaps and bounds over the past couple of seasons. And I think any team in that league is going to struggle against Saracens. They're so quick. They're passing so crisp, and they're determined not to lose. Battersby, who got relegated from the Men's Premier League, I think they're going to struggle to get immediate promotion. But again, they're right up there with the favourites. It just depends how much of that team gets pulled up to the A team. But Saracens A, yeah, favourites for the title and favourites to the win tomorrow against Ramsey B.
We just mentioned Ramsey there. I think it feels like for about the last 3 or 4 years we've been speaking of the youthful promise of Ramsey. Is that starting to be fulfilled?
I think so. They got through to the plate final, and yes, the semi-final was a non-game. It didn't happen, and they got through on account of the fact that they were able to play it. But you look at their performances through the mixed season, you look at their performances last year, and it's just slowly but surely they're improving. They're playing with each other more and more. And they are still a very young side, as are a lot of their ladies as well. And you just get the sense that they're almost experienced enough. And I look at that side again. I've been playing against a lot of the guys in that team for many years, and I forget that some of them are still 19, 20, 21. And they are still a very young side, and they are still improving a lot. And when you bring in the likes of James Aitchison as well, you've got experience in abundance there to help bring those guys on. And it's just slowly but steadily rising up through the leagues. I don't think they're ready yet to challenge Vikings A or Backers A, but I think Ramsey A and Valkyries A are going to have some real good battles like in their ladies.
Okay, Sam Spooner, thanks very much. That's where we'll leave the hockey for now. We'll go through the other matches more in depth tomorrow lunchtime, because you will be with us in the studio tomorrow.
For once, yeah, absolutely.
Great. Okay, looking forward to that. We'll speak to you then, Sam.